Hey everybody, welcome. This week we're going to be taking a look at deciding how many rentals you need to retire. If you are following along our journey, you know that our rentals are one of the big pieces of our plans to retire early. Our plan is to retire at age 55, which is just 5 short years away, and we started with $1 million in debt about 4 years ago now. So you may be thinking, well, how on earth can you retire when you had that much debt and you still have debt? Well, the answer to that is this is our plan. And we're going to show you how to take a look at this yourself and see if this is the way or the route that you want to go to retire. Real estate investing is not for everyone, but if you are interested, there are some really great resources out there for you. I'll talk more about that later. But we're just so glad you're here. If you're new here, welcome to our house. And if you are returning, we are so glad you're here. I am Wendy, and I am one of the founders of the House of Fi. We are all about helping moms and dads save more, spend less, dump debt, build wealth, and do it all while living a joy-filled life. If you haven't subscribed, would you please do that now? We are so close to getting those 1,000 subscribers, and we're just really itching to hit that milestone so that we can reach more people about financial independence and help them on their journey, lock arms with them, because this can be a lonely road. Our friends and family don't quite get it, don't necessarily like to talk about the things that we like to talk about in regards to money, or even talk about money at all. You all are my people. I hope that I'm your people, and that's why we're here, is just to lock arms with you in this journey. All right, so let's talk about why rentals. There's 2 ways that you can use your rentals to fund your retirement. The first way is by using the cash flow, the positive cash flow from those properties to provide for your expenses at retirement. The other way is to plan on selling them when you're ready to retire and then living off the proceeds, putting the proceeds in an interest type account, like maybe an index fund, that sort of thing, a high yield money market account where you feel secure that it's placed, and then drawing on that deposit for the duration of your retirement. But while you're waiting to get to retirement, you have a tenant in the place, and maybe they're you're maybe slightly more than breaking even on that, but you don't care because they're paying your mortgage. Or maybe you're even getting some cash flow. So you're getting the double benefit of both getting that cash flow income and putting it into an investment account or more properties, banking on that appreciation when you're ready to retire. So those are the 2 ways that you would use rental properties to fund your retirement. But the big question that you need to know first to decide how many that you need is to know what your numbers need to be. And you're going to have to give your best guess at an estimate of what your monthly retirement expenses are going to be. So your necessary living expenses, your 4 walls, so your house, your electricity, your water, your gas, your utilities, and then any other expenses that you expect. Maybe you're going to retire early, and so you need to account for health insurance, auto insurance. Hopefully your cars are paid off, so you're not going to have those car payments, but you still will have other sort of transportation expenses, your food. So you're going to need to kind of take your best guess at those and come up with a number. For simplicity's sake, I am going to use in this scenario that our income needs to reach $5,000 a month. And so now that we have that number, we can then perform the calculations. If you're going to monthly cash flow your retirement, your monthly cash flow needs to be equal to or greater than whatever your monthly expenses are going to be. So in this instance, if the monthly income that is needed is $5,000, you need to know that your properties are each going to cash flow at least altogether that amount. And we'll talk about figuring that out in just a second. So monthly cash flow That's after you've taken off the mortgage, after you've paid all of the other expenses, your property manager putting some for capital expenses. Those are big repairs, and another little amount for vacancy, and another little amount for other ongoing repairs. What's left, that's your cash flow. You're not going to take everything that is left over after you just pay your mortgage and utilities. You need to be putting stuff aside because repairs happen. We know that. We've been there already. So that is what your net cash flow is. Net income equal or greater to your monthly expenses. I would say be conservative and make that more. Just so that you're building up cushion in a whole bunch of different areas. So if something goes wrong, you have an extra cushion. If you want to go the other route and have those houses provide proceeds, sell them at retirement, and then live on the proceeds, then your expected proceeds need to be equal or greater to 25 times your monthly expenses. That's the formula that we use in the fire community. It's based upon the 4% rule and the Trinity study, which I'll link both of those down below. If you watch my videos, you've heard me talk about them before. But essentially, what it says is you have a certain amount of money saved based upon your expected retirement expenses. And then whatever those are, you times that by 25, you get a number. You have that in an index fund, and you're able to draw 4% when you retire every single year, and it should stay there until you die. It should provide for your life expectancy. So why would a person choose one over the other? What's important to us is to leave generational wealth to our children. We did not have that, my husband and I, in either of our respective families. And so this is something that is very important to us. We want to raise financially literate children, but we also want to put them in a position where they don't have to struggle with student loan debt, and they don't have to struggle with any debt really, and that they have these other streams of income that they can rely on to provide for their own families for 7 generations down the road. So that is our plan. We're thinking long term. So that might be one reason. The other reason is maybe your homes are in a non-appreciating market, and so you didn't really buy them with the thought of selling them. And that's kind of our scenario. Our houses are in a small town in the Midwest, and the average annual appreciation in that area is really low, like 1%. And so we don't look at those as, we're not looking at the appreciation so much. We're just grateful that the rent is at like 2%. None of the houses cost more than $25,000, and they're all renting for over $500. So we're not really worried about appreciation. And so that's why cash flowing makes much more sense to us. The cons are that, of course, you're going to be dealing with renters. If they're out of state, you're dealing with that, ongoing maintenance, that sort of thing. And so if those are the things that you're just not suited for, then going the cash flow route is probably not for you. And then for those who intend to sell the houses and live on the proceeds, it might be that you don't have to deal with tenants anymore. It's kind of the reverse of cash flow. You no longer have to deal with tenants. You don't have to be a landlord anymore. You may believe that you have better returns by selling the house. It might be that there's just a really, really great market when you retire, and you feel like it's not going to stay that way. And so you want to sell those while the market is really, really high. So those might all be reasons why you sell the house, and also have the security of knowing that you don't have to worry about markets anymore. You can, or at least housing markets anymore. You can put your proceeds into an index fund and know that it's going to get fairly consistent interest in the long run. It's just a better decision for you. Some of the reasons why you might not want to do it that way is that by getting the cash flow and using the cash flow wisely, you're getting a better return on the investment. You may lose out on some tax benefits that you had before. And then once you sell the houses, of course, you lose out on future appreciation. We sold our house in about a year and a half ago. And at the time, I thought that the market was on a high and that it probably couldn't get much higher. And I was so wrong in that. we probably could have gotten $100,000 more for it just in this year and a half. But what can you do? You know, we don't have crystal balls. So sometimes that's why you just don't try and time the market. And that applies not just to the stock market, to the housing market as well. So let's just go back really quick and take a look at the formula as it relates to the question of how many houses do you need. So for cash flow, you need, and the scenarios that you need, $5,000 a month. And let's say that each one of your houses gets about $250 of net income or cash flow each month. So in that scenario, you would need to work yourself up to 20 houses, each cash flowing $250 a month. There you go. It's very, very simple. If you needed to have $7,000 a month, you just divide that by 250, and then that tells you. If your average cash flow is higher than that, you just adjust your calculation. And then if you're going to sell the house route and you need $40,000 a year, you need to times that by 25 years, and that gives the number that you need to have in equity when you sell the houses, your cash that you get for the sale. So in this instance, $40,000 a year times 25 years equals $1 million. So you would need at least $1 million in equity to then put into a safe account in an index fund or something of that sort. And then you could draw on that every year up to 4% and meet that $40,000 amount. So then you would just transfer, maybe at the beginning of the year, you transfer $40,000 into your bank account, and that's what you live on for the year. That's how that would work. How you get to that $1 million is really going to depend on your market and, you know, when you start and how many more years you have to retirement. What you can do is do some research for the market that you want to buy your houses in, and as easy as doing a Google search of, you know, what is the average appreciation rate in, and then give the zip code. That information is out there, fairly easy to find. So then you will take a look at it and see what you expect. You also can get from the mortgage company on each one of your mortgages mortgage amortization scale, which will show you what your loan balance will be over the period of the note. And so that would give you what your principal balance would be. So then you just take the average appreciation figure and, you know, let's say 10 years. If it appreciates at 3% every year, then you just calculate that, the current value out to that amount. You have that amount, then you look at your mortgage amortization sheet and it says your balance is $200,000 and the value in 10 years is going to be $600,000. You know that you have $400,000 in equity in one house. And so you just now need to go do that at least 2 more times, right? Does that make sense, everybody? I hope it does. And I hope that you have found this information helpful. And I hope that you join us again next week. We want to lock arms with you on this financial independence journey. Come hang out with us. We are so glad you are here. Please come back next week. Don't forget to like and subscribe so we can get to that 1,000. We'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Bye.